Welcome back to the Neutral Zone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Auburn Tigers as we continue along with our 2025 preview series. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to join the nation. Let's get right to the video.
All right, coming off of a 5-7 season, the real question is Hugh Freeze on the hot seat? He has an 11-14 record and 2 seasons at Auburn, so a 5-7 season and a 6-7 season. They have not played well in the SEC. I think we're possibly at the last shot. Now, here to save the day, Jackson Arnold over from Oklahoma, a former 5-star. I think just the issue at Oklahoma and what we're hoping is, or what Auburn fans are hoping, is Jackson Arnold, after transfer, can have the same kind of impact that Bo Nix had at Oregon after he transferred from Auburn. I think he has a better weapons around him in Auburn than he had at Oklahoma, especially when you factor in Cam Coleman, the freshman last year, and then they picked up Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech. I think he had about 700 yards receiving. So the weapons on the outside should be really good for this Auburn team, again, in comparison to that Oklahoma team that he had last year. It all comes down to, can Jackson Arnold really pop? He came in with a whole bunch of notoriety. I don't think we've seen it yet, but maybe a change of scenery is exactly what he needed. And he shows to be that true dual threat 5-star quarterback that we all thought. Because, like I said, I think the Hugh Freeze seat is very hot at Auburn this year. Stephen, what's your thoughts?
This team I think is going to be very, very good. This is kind of the first preview we've done where there's a lot of question marks, but I feel good about the team. I feel good about what they brought in Eric Singleton. I think Eric Singleton is one of the better wide receivers in college football. He was at a Georgia Tech he was at Heinz King, and he didn't have an offense to where he was going to get the ball like he's going to get in Auburn. I think Auburn is going to feed him. I think Cam Coleman is one of the most explosive receivers rising, into a sophomore year with the Jeremiah Smiths and the Ryan Williams. I think he kind of got overshadowed a bit by those two guys. Obviously, those two guys being on the cover of the new video game. But I think Cam Coleman is maybe not just as good at them, but right beneath them, maybe a tier lower. But just waiting to have that breakout moment. I think this defense is going to be one of the better defenses in the SEC. And I think there's not a lot of expectation for this Auburn team unless you're an Auburn fan. But this can be a trap game for anybody in college football. I kind of want to get into the roster as I continue to break things down. I think what stands out the most to me on this screen, and I don't think Auburn fans are going to agree with this, but I think losing Jarquez Hunter is a big loss. I think Jarquez Hunter was one of the better running backs in the SEC, and I think losing him is going to hurt. But with capital letters, I don't think that defines your season. I still think, what you have in the backfield coming back, as well as the receiving core you have coming back, I think that can negate that loss. Keandre Lambert-Smith came over from Penn State just for the 1 year. And I think Eric Singleton is better than he is. So I like Eric Singleton replacing that. Fields comes from Wake Forest. Obviously, Wake Forest is a pass-heavy system with the slow mesh. I think he'll be able to do good things in the pass game with Jackson Arnold. But I think the elephant in the room and the question that needs to be answered is, what can Jackson Arnold do at Auburn? Because he had a less than ideal season at Oklahoma. Obviously, the Oklahoma offense was absolutely piss poor. That defense was really good, but the Oklahoma offense could not get anything going to keep this team in games. So can he now with Hugh Freeze kind of unlock that potential and unlock that superstar, if you want to say, quarterback that people thought he was going to be replacing Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams at Oklahoma, guys like that. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I think this offense is going to be really good. They have Keldrick Folk, who's one of the better defensive ends in college football as well. This is going to be a very good team. I'm interested to see what you have. Obviously, we're going to get there. What you have as far as why I know what you have, but your breakdown of your breakdown of why you have it. And obviously the viewers don't know what you have as far as the prediction goes. But when you look at their roster, what kind of stands out to you?
So, one, I really do like this team on the outside. We talked about Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, the other very good freshman last year going into his sophomore year. I think he had about 400 yards receiving. And then we've talked about Eric Singleton at great lengths My concern is, just like you mentioned, that running back position. Jarquez Hunter gone, a 1,200-yard rusher. We're now into Damari Austin, and I think he had about 300 yards rushing last year. So we don't know what he can be. And then just can we finally see this whole thing pop? I think at the end of the day, this is all about who is Jackson Arnold as a quarterback. Was it just a situation where Oklahoma last year had a very bad offensive line and maybe didn't have the weapons that this team has the potential to have? And maybe he pops off again, a la Bo Nix when he moved to Oregon. I think that is very possible, but that is not yet proven. So I agree with you. I think this is a team that I could be very wrong on, and they could sneak up on a lot of people because the talent is on the outside. But if Jackson Arnold is who we saw last year, then this is a team that could be another 500, floating around 500 team again.
So I have them going 8-4.
Okay.
Obviously, you have them going 7-5, so we only have a 1-game difference. The only game we have differently is you have Arkansas. You must be very high on Arkansas because you've had Arkansas beating a few teams.
Yes.
So we're definitely gonna have to. When I was coming up with this, putting this together, I was like, we got to definitely preview Arkansas because I need to see what his resume is going to be for them because they might mess around and make the playoffs at your predictions. But we both have the floor at 5-7 and the ceiling at 10-2, which is identical. I'm skeptical to put my prediction anything higher than 8-4 because we've seen Auburn lose games they're not supposed to. And I think on the road in Norman is going to be hard for a Brett Venables, led defense. I don't know what this offense is going to be able to do against them. That's going to be their first real test. They should be 3-0 heading into that game. At Kyle Field is going to be tough as well. Your back's against the wall against arguably a top 3 environment in college football. You guys know how I feel about Georgia. Obviously, it's a rivalry game, but you know how I feel about Georgia this year. And then Alabama, obviously the Iron Bowl.
Our other concern here is this. You have that very tough stretch where we both have them losing 3 games. This is a team that's been about 500 again the last 2 seasons. My concern for Auburn fans is I think the talent is there, but does this team quit if they go 3 losses in a row? And maybe you drop that Missouri game as well, because again, as I look, that Missouri game is a game, and we don't know who Missouri is this year, but obviously they were good the last 2 years. Like you said, I'm high on Arkansas. Kentucky has been a team that can sneak up on people. That Vanderbilt team this year is going to be a team that has the potential to be good. Remember, they're returning a lot of players from the team that beat Alabama last year. So you have a possible stretch where if you let this thing get out of control, and remember, we're talking about young men. If you allow the defeated attitude to really take over your locker room, again, where you don't have a bunch of success to lean on from previous seasons, this is something that can go downhill very quickly. We could be talking about a 5-7 team very quickly if they don't bounce back from that. Again, what I believe is 3 games where they're going to be the underdog. If they don't bounce back from that in that Missouri game in a very good fashion, because like I said, that stretch is one of the toughest stretches that we've seen so far in terms of looking at schedules.
I have a question. Who is your 2 losses for the ceiling?
So I think they are absolutely going to lose to Georgia and Alabama.
So
Everybody else, I could see them win.
My 2 are A&M and Georgia. I think they play Alabama close every year. Obviously, we saw the 4th down touchdown with Jalen Milroe to Isaiah Bond 2 years ago. They had that game pretty much sealed, and they give up a 4th and however long to lose the game. And that Auburn team was not good at all, and that Alabama team made it to the playoffs. So I think this season there's a lot of question marks coming back from Alabama. I think this Auburn team has elevated. So I wouldn't be shocked if they won the Iron Bowl at home. I think that's a game I could see them winning. Do I favor them? No. But would I be shocked if they won that game? I wouldn't be shocked. But I don't think they can beat A&M on the road. And I don't think they can beat Georgia on Jupiter. So I don't think that game really matters. No disrespect. I just think Georgia's a really good team. They're my pick to win the national championship. But I think this team is trending in the right direction. You have Deuce Knight, obviously up and coming quarterback after the Jackson Arnold era. Who knows? I mean, if Jackson Arnold struggles, we may see Deuce Knight early this year. So I'm excited to see where this program goes. Auburn hasn't really been nationally relevant in a decade or so, give or take, right around there.
Yeah.
And I think the SEC is in a better place when both teams from Alabama are competing for SEC titles. So I'm very excited to see how the season goes. Now, I think I'm very optimistic. Like I said, 8-4 is not going to get you in the playoffs, unfortunately. And you go 5-4 or 6-4, 5-4 in the SEC. You're not going to get the SEC title game. But with the ceiling being at 10-2, if you go 10-2, I think you're in the playoffs. So
Absolutely.
that would be insane. I think it would be a big turnaround. I don't necessarily think that Hugh Freeze is on the hot seat if they go 6-6 or 7-5. No, I don't. Just because I think you're in the SEC, so it's going to be tough. Every team can't go 8-4 or 9-3 in the SEC. It's not realistic. So I mean, I think it depends how you lose games, when you lose games. I think if you lose to a Ball State or a South Alabama, we're having a different discussion. I know Auburn lost to New Mexico or New Mexico State at home a couple of seasons ago. So if you lose a game like that, or like a Mercer, or then we're having that discussion. But if you lose the games where we are projecting them to lose, which is Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, I mean, I think they're going to be underdogs in every one of those games.
Yeah.
So besides maybe the Arkansas game, I don't know if they'll be an underdog in that game, but I mean, you're not supposed to win that game. I mean, the betting odds. So
I think Hugh Freeze is good. Like I said, I love this team. Underratedly, may have one of the better receiving cores coming back this year.
Top 5 for sure.
Yeah. So this is something that could pop. Again, the concern is we don't know who Jackson Arnold is as a quarterback. We don't know if the situation was Oklahoma last year or it was Jackson Arnold. And like I said, right now I have to kind of side with a little bit of that. The issues at Oklahoma had to be Jackson Arnold. So that's why I'm a little bit less optimistic for this team. But I would not be surprised if they open up the offense a little bit with Derek Nix as the OC. They open up that offense a little bit. They get the ball to these guys on the outside. Again, I think this team has much better weapons on the outside than Oklahoma last year. And this thing really pops. And we are talking about a 10-2 team. I wouldn't be surprised. But I also say this is one of the few teams where I say I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the ceiling, or I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the floor.
I'm excited to see how it turns out. Let us know in the comment section what you guys think. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to Join the Nation, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.